Hi and welcome to our latest in our series of videos on classic and collectible cameras with our classics expert John Wade. So John, what have you got for us today?
Well, I'm going to tell you about a rather unexpected camera manufacturer.
Okay.
Just a few brief cameras they made. So if I said to you the name Durst, what would you think of?
Think of enlargers.
Not just darkroom equipment.
Yeah.
They made 4 cameras, which
Okay.
people don't know much about. And the story starts with 2 brothers, Gilbert and Julius Durst, who lived in the Italian Tyrol. That's right on the borders. It's Italy, right on the borders with Austria. So much so that the whole place is very bilingual. I've been there. I've been to the Durst factory. And all the road signs are in 2 languages and all the shop signs in 2 languages.
Right.
And the people tend to speak a strange patois, which is half Italian.
And half German.
That's right. And the town we're talking about is called Brennanoni Brixen. So Brennanoni is the Italian bit, Brixen being the Austrian bit. And it was there that Gilbert and Julius Durst, they'd been brought up with photography. Their mother was a photographer. There'd always been a darkroom in the house. And they wanted to make a camera. But they started off in 1929. They set up a photographic repair business from home. And it was so successful that they went on, and in 1936, they formed, what was the name of the company? It was called Durst Phototechnic, to manufacture photocopies initially. But they always wanted to produce a camera. And so in 1938, they produced their first camera. And there it is. It's called the Gill. Nobody knows exactly why it's called the Gill, but we suspect it had something to do with Gilbert Durst, maybe, hopefully. Yeah. And it's really a fairly bog standard box camera, but it's got a few tricks up its sleeve. For a start, it's got double exposure prevention. You can't take 2 pictures until you've wound the film. And being Italian, it does have a rather stylish, almost Art Deco look to it.
Yeah.
And it's got various instructions about where to take in landscapes, mountainous areas, snow, etc. Right, that's all in Italian, which I actually keyed into Google Translate about it. That's what it's all about. So it's nothing too special. It can focus in 2 places, 1.5 to 4 feet, and 4 feet to infinity, depending on which way you turn that. But other than that, it's a fairly standard box camera for 120 film, 8 on 6x9 exposures.
Okay.
And the 4 cameras they did make were really quite different in different ways. So having produced a box camera, they went on to produce this, which at first sight does look like a sub-miniature camera. In fact, I've got 16mm cameras, which are about the same size, maybe even bigger, but it is a 35mm camera. Although it doesn't take standard 35mm cassettes, it takes its own special cassettes, winding from one to the other. If we open it up, it's not an easy thing to open, so you need to get a little, there we go, simple as that. And it took 35mm in this special little, in its own special cassettes that you can see there. That one's even got a film still in it. So if you want to use it, again, you'd need the cassettes. And to use it, I won't put the back on, you simply wound the film like that and shot the picture like that. And it's called a Dooka, Durst camera, which I suppose we should really call it a Durka, but it more generally known as a Dooka. And commonly seen in black. They did also make red ones and green ones and blue ones, which these days are much more collectible and quite rare, as you can imagine. But quite an interesting little camera.
Let's have a look at that one.
Yeah, I'll put the side back on, I hope, but I won't necessarily.
Let's have a look at it before you put the side back on. Let's have a look at the inside bit. Let's have a closer look at the.
So that is they made that about 1947.
Okay. That goes in there. I think that probably goes in that way around. Okay, and there was is that the plate there?
That's a pressure plate.
Pressure plate, and that would go, there you go. There you go.
Well, quite unusual in its own way, and different from the previous camera.
Yeah.
And different again was the Durst 66, which they produced in 1956. And this is for 120 roll film. And you probably guessed from the fact it's called a 66, it takes 6x6
6x6
square 6x6 centimetre pictures. There are people who say this is a beautiful looking camera and those who say it's damn right ugly. I can't really make up my mind, but it's not really a pretty camera.
I don't think it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's not ugly in the way that American cameras, or some of the American cameras are ugly.
No.
But it's not beautiful either, is it really?
It's got an extinction meter, which in the normal way would light up the appropriate little windows there, and you turn that to the appropriate window and it would give you a suggested exposure. But the interesting thing about it, the important thing, is that it's got a pneumatic shutter.
Right.
Now, inside there's a little tube which, as you wind the film on, it charges that tube with air. And across the top of it, there's a plate with 4 holes in it of different sizes. And depending on what shutter speed you have chosen from this, depends on where that plate is over the tube. And as you set the shutter off, the air escapes. And the longer it takes to escape, the slower the shutter speed.
Right.
And the faster it takes to escape, the faster the shutter speed. So it depends on one of those 4 holes across the top of the tube.
That's not a system that got widely adopted.
No. I wonder why that never caught on, but Durst actually went on and improved on it, which I'll show you in a moment. Other than that, it's a fairly straightforward 120 6x6 roll film camera. Got 2 focusing distances marked in white and red, as you can see.
Was this wasn't the first of its kind of a 6x6 roll film rangefinder type camera, is it?
Yeah, it's getting there at that sort of era, isn't it?
Like an early Forerunner or something like the Mamiya 6, which is a really beautiful medium format rangefinder camera now.
Yeah, I mean, compared to what they also produced, the other company, it's quite utilitarian, let's say.
Yeah.
But their pièce de résistance was their final camera, which was the Durst Automatica. And that took the same idea about the pneumatic shutter and turned it into an automatic camera. So there's a meter there, and that controlled where that plate went. And so it is, I'll stick my neck out and say it's the first aperture priority camera.
Oh, okay.
Which was 1956. And it is so smooth. If you look at the top plate, how smooth everything is. Even the lever wind.
It's recessed into the top plate. Oh, that is nice, isn't it?
That's smooth. And then back there. And in fact, you can hear it's a different sort of shutter. If we just all be quiet, it does make a different sound.
Yeah.
And so that's a Durst Automatica. I think they were going to improve on it with interchangeable lenses, but they never got round to it, and I don't suppose it was that successful.
I was going to say, presumably not a commercial success.
No, whether it was seen much outside of Italy, I don't know. But
and what year was this?
This is 1956.
Okay.
So I guess after that, the meter is still reacting, as you can see there. And so after this, I guess, they went back to making darkroom equipment, or started.
Do you know what? It looks more modern than 56, doesn't it? Somehow, some of these other cameras look their age.
Yes.
This one doesn't, does it?
It's very, very streamlined, isn't it? And it's very Italian.
Yeah. I like the recessed wind on.
Yes, there's been a lot of thought put into that.
Very nice.
So after that, I guess they discovered that they could make more money out of darkroom equipment.
Enlargers, yeah.
But they made their first camera about 4 years before they ever made an enlarger.
That's interesting.
So a slightly unexpected camera manufacturer.
But they were obviously probably the market leader for enlargers, weren't they? Or some other companies, but Durst,
Absolutely, yes.
Synonymous with the largest.
Yes. I met Gilbert Durst. I went to the Durst factory at early 80s, something like that, and he was just about dodderingly alive, and took us all out to dinner at this restaurant up in the Dolomites. And then, unfortunately, after having had a few, he drove us back down again in his Mercedes probably one of the most scary, one of the most scary drives I've ever had.
Oh dear, those are the days, aren't they?
Yes, those are the days.
Okay, well that was really interesting. Thanks for that, John.
My pleasure.
And did you know about these Durst cameras? Did you ever own one? What do you think of them? Which one do you like best? I like the Automatica. That's a nice camera.
Yes, it's great.
But do comment below and like the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more classic camera videos from John coming soon.